And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Thrashers Paradise, Zoom edition again because it doesn't mess up like Skype does. Yes, throwing shade back to the early 2000s. But no, I am joined with new friend I've made over the past couple of days, I will say. His name is William, and he is from a band based in
Yeah.
Pradisi, Alberta.
Oh, Calgary, actually.
Calgary. Okay, that doesn't make me sound as bad with saying words. No, we're joined with. He is the vocalist to Narcissistic Necrosis, which is a death grindcore band.
Yeah, bit of mix of both.
A beautiful mix of both. I've heard the first track that you can listen to on Bandcamp. Very good track. Great combination of the two. What kind of influenced you to kind of combine death metal with grindcore?
Just growing up, I had a big background and influence in death metal and grindcore and punk in general, and I just always listened and liked bands and were influenced by bands who were already mixing both. So like Mortician. So it was kind of a spin-off from where they left off. Mortician, bands like that, Putrid Pile, basically any death grind bands out there.
Awesome. Now, what I love about your band is that you do state right off the bat in your Bandcamp profile that it originally started as a one-man death metal band.
Yeah, it did actually.
And then grew. What kind of made you want to grow it into an actual band instead of it just being like a solo project?
I realized I wanted it to be a live act, and then the more I thought about it, the more I did the research. It would just be more appropriate to have a full band if I could find the right musicians who could play the instruments. Because I guess that was the only thing keeping me from starting it as a band. First of all, was you need a demanding drummer to blast like that, or like a demanding guitar player, anything really.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't until 5 years later, until after I recorded the album, I was planning a CD release show date, and that's unfortunately going to be postponed now because of COVID. But yeah, I got the inspiration to make a band just for the presence of having live shows.
Of course. Now, have you been able to perform at live shows?
Not with Narcissistic Necrosis, not yet.
Well, here's hoping soon enough you will be able to.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Here's hoping. But no, it's exciting news coming. At the end of August, on the 28th, you're going to be releasing your first album with Narcissistic Necrosis. The Art of Deformity. What is the main theme occurring during the album?
I wouldn't say there's one particular main theme, but there's a couple main lyrical themes and lyrical topics to go about. To anything from misanthropy to self-destruction, self-improvement, obviously narcissism. It's just kind of like a little stab and poke at like modern day morality and stuff like that.
Okay, now what inspired the name of the album, The Art of Deformity?
The Art of Deformity. How I got the inspiration for it was I had a friend who wrote a song called The Art of Tragedy, and then that kind of gave me like the inspiration for The Art of Deformity. Kind of like it was a spin-off from that. Yeah, it was a old friend I had from the MySpace eras that unfortunately don't even talk to nowadays.
MySpace era, wow.
I'm not sure if you YouTube Art of Tragedy, you might still find this song. His name was Jason Wakefield.
Okay. Now, for you personally, when it came to just creating each song individually, what one was the one you had the most difficulty writing?
Believe it or not, the one I had most difficulty writing was Pessimistic Infuriation. The reason being, it was just one song that I didn't feel like I was satisfied with how it was structured. and composed. I just felt like there needed to be more breakdowns, and then I felt like it
Mm-hmm.
was too long, and then I ended up shortening up the song. I was just never happy with little things like tempo changes, the length of the chorus, little things. And that was the one I nitpicked the most. I spent about a good 3-4 years tapping that out on Guitar Pro before it became the song that's on the album.
Excellent. Now, for you personally, what does this album mean to you?
It doesn't mean anything necessarily metaphorically to me, or even, I guess, what the album does mean to me. Like, it's my first album as a solo debut, so it's obviously an album that I'm specifically proud about, the writing and composing just by myself. So I guess the most it means to me is just the pride I take in it, the amount of time that I spent recording and writing it. So I guess that's what means most to me.
Excellent. Now, I gotta say, just from looking at the album cover on Bandcamp, it is extremely beautiful, detailed. It captures the eye. I love that it's kind of like this demonic mirror with that face in it. It's just amazing artwork. What kind of brought you and the rest of the band into that direction of you wanted this to be your album cover?
Believe it or not, that album cover was a draft for a Death God T-shirt that we were gonna make about 2 or 3 years ago, and it just never got about ever being created. And it was just a draft that I had sitting by. And then about a year ago, I was looking for an album cover for the album itself. And then I asked the artist, Josh Littlelight, I was like, do you still have that demonic looking guy in the mirror? Yeah, if you could tone that up red and give him like a gold mirror, I think that would look a cool album cover. And he was able to just make that off the top of his head in Photoshop.
No way, that's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. He's a great artist.
That's pretty funny how one thing for one of your other bands turned into like gold, I guess, for your other project.
We'll see. Like, believe it or not to interrupt or anything, but there were a couple songs on the album that I kind of wrote thinking, oh, this is going to be a Death God song one day, and it just never went that way,
Wow. That's actually a pretty cool tidbit of fact to even hear. Just
Yeah.
It's insane. Now, because you are in two bands that are both going on at the same time, is it kind of difficult to be in either or's mindset, or is it just you write something and then you just ultimately decide which act it's for?
Pretty much, I'd say so. Right from when I started Death God and started Narcissistic Necrosis around the same time, 5.5 years ago, I was writing stuff for both of the bands, and I just wasn't sure what theme each band was going to be. I guess over the years, Death God evolved into more technical stuff, right? And then whereas Narcissistic Necrosis, I just kind of wanted to keep it a bit more fast and chaotic.
Of course. Now, when it comes to Narcissistic Necrosis, where do you think, once you do become a, I guess, concert performing band, where do you think your style is going to stand within the rest of that Calgary scene? Because I know there's a lot of different styles from there.
Yeah, I guess I'd kind of like to stick away from the niche groups and kind of make our own sort of genre. Like, I don't even necessarily like to label it death grind. I guess that's just like a reference point, or kind of like a benchmark, if you will. It's more or less like extreme metal with all these death metal, grindcore, even thrash influences, right? Like, there's a little bit of everything in there.
Of course. Now, when it does come time to finally be able to perform your album live, where's the one venue you would like to personally be able to perform it at?
I think everyone, or mostly everyone, imagines having their release show in Calgary at Dickens. So I would have loved it to be at Dickens Pub. If not, the Blind Beggar was definitely one place that we were inquiring and looking into releasing. I guess another place would have been even Burns. Like, it doesn't have to be like a super fancy layout type CD release show. I just kind of wanted to get it out there.
Awesome. Now, even though on Bandcamp, you are. It says you are from a. I want to assume a suburb of Calgary.
Yeah, Pritis. Yeah, that's what it says. Hometown. Yeah.
Okay, so Pritis is like a suburb of the Calgary city.
Yeah. It's a little bit southeast of Calgary. It's like a little kind of like a town site.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what? I guess kind of what just made you want to keep that as the band's, I guess, location?
To be honest, I just haven't got around updating it to Bandcamp yet, and I'll probably go around to update it. I updated it as much as I could, and it looks like that was the one place I forgot to update the location for this, because that's where I'm out from, and then that's where the project started as a one-man band.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I technically reside in Calgary now, and it's about time I update the Bandcamp page.
All right. Excellent. Now, there are kind of two default questions we do ask usually at the end of our interviews. And because this is one of two we're going to be doing together, you have the choice of doing either both in one, or we separate the two.
Sure.
Sure to which one?
We need to do both. I'd be down.
Okay, we'll do both right now then for Narcissistic Necrosis. Jesus. Wow.
It's kind of a mouthful. It's not till afterwards I realized it's like, man, it's like 7 syllables there.
But still, it's a great band name. You definitely stand out, and
you like it.
I'm pretty sure people will still be buying the T-shirts once they are made.
Exactly. Hopefully.
Hopefully. No. So the first question we usually ask is a fun one. Now, a lot nowadays, you see a lot of metal bands teaming up with either local breweries or even distilleries to come out with their own signature line of an alcoholic beverage per se. I know in the Calgary area, Hyperia came out with their own beer, Hyberia. I heard that was a huge hit. Now, if Narcissistic Necrosis ever gets to that point, what is the preferred beverage, and what would the ideal name be?
That's a really good question. That's the first time I've ever compared any of my band names, or let alone song names, to beverages. I guess it would have to be something along the lines of like some sort of spirit, right? Sounds like that's kind of a brutal sounding spirit, Narcissistic Necrosis.
Sounds like a dangerous vodka.
I was going to say that, a dangerous vodka or dangerous gin, right?
Yes.
Jeez, I don't know if Narcissistic Necrosis rolls off the tongue as much as it does for a bottle as it does for a band name, but look at the album song titles.
I found the perfect one.
Which one?
Isolated Evil Within.
Exactly. There we go. Believe it or not, that's going to be the next single coming out.
Oh.
Yeah.
When might we anticipate that to be out?
July 30th. It'll premiere on Metal Insider, so I'm not sure if we'll have the interview out in time to debut in time. It might be out before the interview's out. I think that's not until Thursday, right?
That's not until Thursday, and as long as I get off my, excuse my French, my ass to have it uploaded before then.
No, I hear you.
Then they will all have the proper preparation for it, so they can keep their eye out on there to make sure to hear Isolated Evil Within as I continue to refer to Bandcamp on my phone, which you cannot see because white screen. Blurs camera. Smart. Back to the questions. And the last question we always ask our first-time guest on the show, because this is your first time, and you're quickly becoming one of the more frequently occurring guests on the channel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. The immortal poser question we ask to all of our guests, because we need to make sure we're not just talking to some random country boy in the middle of Saskatchewan who likes Brett Kissel, let's say, and just ask him this and they go, what? No. So the question William, is simple. Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Oh, Lemmy, there's no question about it. 3 different types of conditions to kill Lemmy before he dropped.
That is the obvious correct answer. William.
If that isn't the definition of omnipotence, I don't know what is.
William, thank you so much for coming on Thrashers Paradise today for Narcissistic Necrosis. Album's out August 28th. Anything else you'd like to say to the wonderful people watching this on YouTube?
Big shout out to all the fans and friends keeping the support, keeping waiting patiently. It's been a year coming for the album. Glad it's finally dropping August 28th. I just want to give a big shout out to Colin for having me on the show. Fucking awesome.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome on any time. Evident as we are about to do another interview after this one's not recording.
Brief intermission.
Yes. Show intermission. We're becoming a Dream Theater concert because, of course, there has to be an intermission in a Dream Theater concert. But back to the main topic at hand. You are most welcome, William. Thank you for providing some amazing music to give this beautiful country to listen to during a hard time, which we are all struggling from.
Thanks, Colin. I appreciate it, man. Can't wait to help the album.
You're welcome, man. And until next time, everyone, keep on thrashing. And now it's time to get ready for our interview for Death God.